Kristen Foxen is one of the best poker players in the world right now, and at the 2024 World Series of Poker Main Event, she put on a dominant performance, leading to a very, very deep run.
Back to our secondary table here as Kristen Foxen is in a very interesting hand here. A book all in for 27,000. Foxen with a big decision to make. Let's recap the action here. Foxen made it 2,000 before the flop after a book limped in. A book then called, actually went check on the flop. Then a book bet 1,800 by the looks of it on the turn. Foxen called and then shoved his entire stack on the river. What do we make of this?
He is a bit of a tricky player.
Foxen also has the king of spades.
This one, 27, 26.
Ooh, she's putting together the bet here. This is for Abuk's tournament life.
Sometimes in these moments, you just really got to listen to your heart.
Wow. She called it exactly.
Very nicely done. Let's see if she follows through on it.
She does have a big stack, so calling here and being wrong would not be the end of the world for her.
All right, I call.
And she makes the call, and Abuk's tournament is over.
Wow. Very nicely done by Kristen there.
Thank you. Thanks. It's like, good game.
So, boys.
Wow, look at this. O'Leary moves all in.
Oh, he's had enough.
He's, yeah.
He's had enough.
He definitely has had enough. He jams for 29K. Now, decision back on Foxen.
Yeah, she bet 6K. He jammed 29.1.
She's way too experienced. I think she's gonna call.
She had a huge spot earlier, big overbet jam from an opponent who had a weaker top pair. Foxen had top pair, top kicker. She correctly sniffed that one out. Here, she probably has too much of a hand.
But what a spot to turn sevens into a bluff. And from my perspective, maybe a little unnecessary, Donnie. What a risk.
I mean, if I was in O'Leary's shoes, not specifically this hand, but this table, I would probably just be like, okay, I'm gonna avoid Kristen Foxen today. I know she's very good. She's got a lot of chips. Like, why tangle? Why do this sort of stuff when there's probably some other spots at the table? You know.
Sometimes someone at your table has your number.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me yesterday. One guy had my number, and the rest of the table.
Same with me, and I.
Oh, wow.
She gives it up.
Well,
O'Leary gets it done and shows the sevens. Foxen in shock.
Yeah, cop that, Kristen. Cop that, Kristen.
Yeah, great on him. Something funny about a person who lives by the ocean being named Landerman.
Oh, wow. Good point. Well, I guess not a sailor.
I guess not.
An ace for both. Foxen with aces up, yeah.
This is a disaster card for Landerman.
Bet 200.
And in a blind versus blind pot, no less.
Both starting with virtually identical stacks. And Landerman going from the best of it to horrendous shape on the turn.
How does Chrissy want to play this? If she raises here, she would be able to get all of the chips in by the river.
That's the calculation. Top two for Chrissy B.
That said, aces up are often a good hand to slow play. Just because you have so much of the board, it's more likely your opponent was bluffing. If she had a hand like pocket sevens, where it's more likely that her opponent has a hand like ace queen, then you tend to want to raise something like that. But top two blocks a lot of your opponent's value.
Landerman has the action. You just never know, you know? Did they hit their kicker as well? He's going to find out.
Bet 320.
Lavenders are worth 100K each.
And this is a very small bet into a million chip pot. Chrissy's going to see through this and put in a significant raise, I would have to imagine.
Then the squirming will begin.
If Chrissy wants to ensure that the one pair top pair type of hands will always call. She'll choose a smaller sizing. Or she may just target the smaller 2 pairs and the best top pairs and go really big.
Into 1.4 million, she bet 1.5 million. Hoping Landerman has pretty much what he has.
And this spot officially sucks for Landerman.
Chips are in hand. That's part 1.
Call.
Call.
Wow.
She turned it over with.
Oh.
That is a massive pot for Chrissy B.
Good turn for me.
I looked on you.
500.
I used to get a kick as a kid out of double-breasted jackets.
Oh, yeah.
I used to say, wow, you get 2 sets of buttons for the price of 1.
And they're kind of, they went out for a while, but I see them often now.
You know, Foxen deciding if she wants to put Dunst all in here. Does she want to call and see a flop? Looks like she's going to choose the latter here.
A little raise to the left eyebrow. Do you see that?
Ooh,
Oh,
the free
my.
roll comes in.
Ooh. Ooh.
250. Bet 250.
You say 350? 250. Okay, 250.
Yeah, on this type of monotone board, Dunst can go real small, especially as the pre-flop aggressor here. And I don't see Foxen, you know, necessarily wanting to fast play in this spot.
Oh my goodness. There's some serious nastiness on this table last couple of days.
More bad news for Tony Dunst.
Yikes. Listen, a lot of the hands that Foxen's going to raise and call a 3-bet with pre will contain a lot of suited combos, right? Perhaps, you know, something like the Ace X suited, something of the Queen X suited variety. Some of those suited broadways are going to be in there. But Dunst also feels like he can try to get some value / deny some equity here once he turns top pair.
This is going to leave a mark on Tony Dunst. Over 1/3 of the pot.
I don't see Foxen having a ton of offsuit combos, calling pre-flop. So I think, you know, again, there is some equity denial in here for the you know, naked flush draw, but also maybe thinking if Foxen has a hand like a suited 10x or, you know, something that she wants to maybe see one more with, feeling like the king is a card that Dunst is going to rep pretty often as the 3-better.
Tony now looking leerily across the table at his very competent opponent.
Wonder if you're going to be suspicious at all, or if you just don't want to miss out on value.
Check.
Yeah, he looks suspicious.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oof, indeed.
Thank you.
Wow, all things considered, Tony got off kind of cheap there.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the turn obviously cost him another bet. I think there are going to be some other turns where he just shuts down and tries to
Hey, Phil, can you document
take
that
his
hand and let me know what
showdown
Tony
there
had?
with ace
Text
high.
me. Thank you.
Sponge? No, I was saying
Oh,
sponge.
Sponge Wars.
Do you know
Oh,
how many
yeah.
different types of sponges there are?
You
Yeah,
mean
there's
the
like,
living
there's
ones or
Scrub
the?
Daddy, right? There's, you know, I don't know. That's all I got.
I don't
That's my list.
I just know the host should be SpongeBob. Ace King again for Kristen Foxen after
Wow.
Mercer. her nemesis at this table raised it up with kings.
They've definitely been involved in their fair share of pots. I mean, to be fair, Foxen's been involved in her fair share of pots with a lot of players at the table. You know, definitely picking up big hands. You know, sometimes was getting out of line and had to fold, but here just a very clear hand that she is going to want to play very aggressively, I would think, against Mercer's stack size.
She has double the stack size of Mercer, and here comes the 3-bet, 500K. Mercer not going anywhere. Lopez sees the chips flying and says, no thanks.
Yeah, and unlike the other times when Foxen found a 3-bet, she's going to call this all in, I think, whereas before, you know, she had to 3-bet fold, just getting a count, exactly, as she said.
Yeah, he wasted no time in shoving.
Same hand here.
He wasn't going to play any games and try to bleed the clock or twist emotions. Right into the pot with his kings.
Call.
Call. Ah. Oh.
Good luck, guys.
Ace would be good. Thank you.
Yeah, Foxen and Mercer in a position to swap chip stacks if the kings can hold up. Mercer at risk.
$5.5 million in
Can I
there.
use my one time? Big pot. Ah, I almost called you free.
You got more times. You got more times. You need your one time. I need my one time.
What
Here's a
happens
big
when
pot.
both players use their one time? Like,
Didn't
who
love
supersedes?
calling,
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't recall that happening before. It had to.
Kings
Oh
at
my
risk.
gosh.
Oh, and an ace in the flop. And suddenly Mercer sees his main event coming to a close if he cannot pull it out.
Foxen just.
That's a lie. That's a lie. It's 64%. Oh, the turn card brings the king to Mercer.
Whoa, why did they snap the
Oh my goodness. And it's over. Mercer with the miracle double up through Kristen Foxen.
Started with the best hand and then needed that two-outer to stick around.
Money with a very, very small, relatively small buy-in. So, yeah, I definitely think that some of these online players probably will just have bigger pieces of themselves.
And the deck keeps hitting Kristen Foxen.
Yeah, and look at her just flatting, just praying.
Ace-jack, ace-jack. Montoya not in yet, but
yeah,
he's coming.
For some type of squeeze behind her. Somebody looking at this spot at the raise and the call. Is it going to be Montoya who decides to take this spot with ace-jack in the big blind?
We saw him with ace-jack just a little while ago having to make a decision as if this is the time to go against another ace-jack, and he gave it up with patience. This time he's going to come.
900,000 in the middle. Foxen with kings against ace-jack, ace-jack. Oh my.
Oof.
And an ace in the kitchen.
Yeah, and Chrissy's not going to like that. Like, I very much like the fact that she did take the flatting line there with some shorter stacks behind her who might have elected to squeeze. But now, obviously, her hand very much under-repped here, but is not going to like the ace against Astet's early position raise. Just going to come with the overcall, so Kristen very much realizing that king's very likely not good.
Interesting card.
Very, very interesting. Both Montoya and Foxen with a heart. Foxen with the king of hearts, though. And Astet also, of course, can't love the overcall by Montoya in that spot. So is going to check, gets checked around. Now the river pairs the 6, and Montoya going to have a lot more 6Xs than the pre-flop raiser and the flatter in this spot. But can Astet find some value here? Again, putting Chrissy probably on 8s, 9s, 10s. Blocking the nut flush, but she did check back the turn. Does she very often check back the turn there?
Uh-oh, she's going the other
With
route.
the nut flush. Yeah, it looks like what I thought could have been something that she was considering, which is raising right now against that sizing.
It's been the right fold every time.
This is a brilliant play
Yeah,
by
wrong fill
Kristen
on PV1.
Foxen. I think it's going to get through the first of the ace jacks based on Montoya's body language.
Yeah, but all of this talk, I think, by Montoya, while there's still action pending, is not good poker etiquette, you know?
Correct.
Montoya blocking some of the flushes, though, with the jack of hearts, right? Like the king jack of hearts, the jack 10 of hearts.
Yeah. One muck.
Queen jack of hearts. Astet knows Foxen is capable. She's really trying to win this pot, trying to get these types of hands to fold out here with this raise against a very small sizing.
2 stacks starting the hand with over 8 million chips. A head shake.
If Astet had the ace jack of hearts, I think he might find the call having a blocker to a lot of the likely flats, the suited broadways. But again, knowing that Kristen is very capable and questioning the line, right? Does she check back multi-way, you know, with a flush there?
Oh my, she got them both to fold, the best hands.
Thanks.
Great.
3s are less appealing. Does go in.
No, it's a raise. Sorry.
Yeah.
Good luck, guys. Thank you.
So a little bit of late night roulette.
I have 3.
Russian in nature, if
No,
we
I'm not
consider
all in
the
for
fact that
That would be.
Montoya's life
I
in
don't
the
even
main.
really want to call that so.
She has ace too, sure. But I'm saying like in this spot, I'm not
6
gonna
bigs.
complain.
Is it risk?
It would be.
Let's see, deuce 4-5. You want deuce 4-5? I've been calling for action flops all day, haven't I?
That's really bad flop. That's pretty bad for you. That's really bad flop.
Oh, a 3 in the window.
Oh.
There's chop outs.
Yeah,
There is chop
that's
outs.
the chop only.
Nah, it's
Running
not coming.
5-6 for the chop.
It's
Running
more than
deuce
chop outs.
5 is a
Deuce,
clean
five,
winner.
deuce.
There
Spades
you go.
work.
You play.
Backpack
You
being
play on
reached
GG.
for.
If you put a GG, the turns is deuce always.
5.
Or 5 over.
Ah,
Good run, Montoya.
nice playing with you.
By the way, there was no spade outs. What am I smoking?
Late date.
Swarsberg back at it. Foxen with the pocket jacks after the raise. And on the big blind, Swarsberg will come along. Pretty nice flop for the jacks. By the way, the payout will be $200,000 through elimination number 45.
Straightforward C-bet spot for Foxen here with the overpair. The 8 in Swartzberg's hand might keep things interesting for him. He has ace high, does have backdoor straight possibilities he might be looking for. That's kind of what Swartzberg thought he might want to give him a little more reason to stay in this hand.
as the action, as the open-ender. She sees how the board is straightening as well.
Yeah, but the nice part is she does have blockers to Jack 8, obviously. So, you know, still going to be a lot of one pair hands floating out there, some pair straight draw hands. There will be some two pair combos, not too many. You don't expect Schwartzberg to come along with, you know, the offsuit combos of 7 deuce, but might have the 7 deuce suited, will have the 9-7 suited and 9-7 O's. But either way, I think that her hand is looks like he's going to continue to call here.
Oh.
Just a complete brick
Yep,
on the river.
Safe card.
Just ace high now.
Quick check. Now she's decided.
On certain things. Oh, it looks like he's going to do it. It looks like he's just going to put her on, you know, the queen jack, king jack type hands that have 2 overs and straight possibilities.
Here comes the hero call. Say goodbye to those chips. My goodness, who would have thought?
Think long, go wrong. That hero call doesn't work out for Schwartzberg.
Man, they're taking their time on this flop, Polly.
Is there a flop? No.
Here it is.
Is there a flop?
She has the 4 of spades working.
Not good. Yep. It's coming. It's coming. Yep.
The Brazilians are activating here. Perhaps they can taste.
I don't know if those are clean for more Chrissy down to the lone ace is an
We
out.
need a river. We need the ace. We need a river.
3 outs
Come on.
for Mrs. Foxen.
Come on.
And there they are. It is the ace. Oh my God, it is the ace. Go on, Chrissy. Sit right back down and stack that 6.3. Oh my. Ali, it didn't feel like it was coming. But it's only 3 outs. It just, oh my. Goes for the check.
Oh, this is not great for Foxen.
Well, it's not the worst either, mind you.
Is she looking to check back and take a free turn?
But then one considers a lot of ace-king and ace-queen. Maybe she's seeing where she's at.
The upper crust of the Broadway combos are the first thing that come to mind for me.
She goes for 1.3. See how Yegor responds.
And this procedure here from Yegor making things trickier and trickier for Chrissy in terms of escapes. Now that card in particular.
Relief in some regard for Chrissy. We can't really see a road to her going broke anymore unless she decides to turn the 9s into a bluff and somehow Moreau's heroes it off. But it is sweet relief. And if I were Chrissy, I'd be very concerned they have the ace now in this kind of odd line. She checks as well. The river is a 4th spade. That's a very interesting card where now the road to a Chrissy win at the very least is on the table. If Moreau elects to check it over, she has a real decision. Of course, a bet would put pressure on something like ace-king of diamonds. Rose hasn't checked yet, though.
2 overcards to the jacks. A 10 is a problem as well. Spades quite clearly.
These are always tough where it's maybe we win if we check, but probably not. But just that being in the air makes it a little harder to bluff. But here it would have to be red 8s that have just given up now. Doesn't seem like we win if we check very often. 12 million in the middle. 12 million back for Chrissy.
Well, if we don't feel like the 9s have showdown value.
She's eyeing her chip, Sully.
Then the bluff is incumbent upon us. She is breathing heavily, it would appear. Not suggesting any correlations whatsoever. These moments
Ali, she's reaching
bear
in a major
weight.
way.
And yes,
Beautiful.
look at the moxie.
And for Morose with red jacks, he would really have to put her on pairs below the 10 spadeless. Fantastic execution from Chrissy B. One of the biggest bluffs of her life, certainly. Outstanding. Go on, Chrissy.
Raised to 2 million.
Ace queen suited, Kristen Foxen.
And Coelho has been somewhat active, but with fairly reasonable holdings, so I wouldn't necessarily peg him as a player who's been overly active or somebody who's necessarily trying to bully people around. Definitely worthy of coming along to see a flop.
Coelho's good with that. 16.5 million up for grabs pre-flop. And a queen in the window for Kristen Fox.
Wow. 2 diamonds,
2 diamonds
for
also.
Coelho. You see how close the equities are post, even though Foxen is ahead right now with a pair of queens.
Just stick around, make it cheap. If she just pins him on a diamond flush, what do you like here?
No, I mean, she definitely, I think, is going to respect the fact that he did 3-bet. He could obviously have top of range here in the form of the over pairs. But of course, there's going to be some 3-bet bluffs here that will likely just continue with a C-bet on the flop. And she's just going to make the call in position and decide on later streets. And if we're looking at stack to pot ratio, though, it's getting pretty close to 1.
Well, Coelho started this day second in chips. And at the end of this hand, unless something changes on the river, he is going to be short stacked.
Coelho recognizing that, of course, Kristen will have some pretty good hands here on this texture. Of course, you know, some sets, some Jack-10 suited perhaps might have come along. So we're looking for the diamond, which bricks the river.
A big stack that was and a big stack that will be.
Check. Showdown.
Decides to give up here, and
Yeah.
it's going to see that he got outflopped in a big way.
Big, big pot for Team Foxen.
And don't look now, but Team Foxen, Kristen Foxen, with 16 players
I knew
left
that was gonna happen.
in this main event, I believe is the chip leader.
That is amazing. Down to her last card with 5 big blinds about this time yesterday. And she has climbed back, and she is on top of the heap with 16 players.
There.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The deep thinker. That
The
alone.
human rain delay.
Human rain delay.
Troublesome board for Foxen against Sirac. Ace is up again for Joe.
Yeah, Sirac had raised under the gun. Foxen coming along in the big blind with a good hand. And now Sirac. Ace is up against just a pair of kings for Kristen.
Sirac sizing up Foxen stack. Going to continue barreling. Going to be Queen X, 10X, hearts in there. You know, obviously some of the inferior pair holdings. Top pair, second pair, pair straight draws. This is the board texture that you will expect the under the gun opener to be pretty aggressive on.
That's pretty aggressive. A little longer blink for Kristen that time. Like, really?
She's got a pair and a straight draw. Blocks Queen 10.
Joe Sirac looks unconcerned. What is she picking up?
Does she want to commit more chips in this spot?
Joe's been pretty solid, right?
I would think so. I mean, you know, he hasn't had the best seat today, right? He didn't have all those chips to begin with. He had Ostet to his left. She's going
She
all
says
in.
all in. And a call.
Oh,
She's
my
not
goodness.
going to like
I need a
getting
10.
called.
Oh my goodness. Foxen looking for a 10 and a 10 only.
Ace, king, queen, king, all in turn.
I have a good shot.
Big pot poker.
And as we've seen, Foxen does not like to watch the board from the table.
Come on, 10. I have a weird spot.
Christy.
Well, this is her biggest misstep of the last several days. And now she needs to be bailed out by a 4-outer.
Well, she's been there before. She's been there 24 hours ago. And she needed an ace. Now She needs a 10 on the finale and does not get it. Kristen Foxen eliminated from the main event.
You can't even imagine the heartbreak when she probably felt, I mean, not only just pressure that she might have put on herself, but from the community that was really rooting for another woman to make the final table of the main event. She decided that she wanted to take that spot. I mean, understandable for a lot of reasons. Right now, I hope that it doesn't sting too much and that she gets to take some time to think about this accomplishment amongst her other many accomplishments.